Hello and welcome to Business Insight. I'm Adesua Iramasele, and as always on Business Insight, we discuss anything that has to do with business. If it affects your business, you can be sure that we will be talking about it right here on the show. And today we will be discussing a topic, innovative business trends for improved productivity in 2024. We know that this is the new year, and lots of businesses are springing up day after day. Everybody's getting serious with business all over again, after the festivities, and so there is need to actually know, what is trending in the business space, innovations that you could adopt to ensure that your 2024 year is more productive than 2023. Okay, and to discuss this topic, we would be having a virtual guest, Sheye Oluwarotimi, and he is the founder of MSME Africa. He will be joining us right after this short break. Stay with us, please.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown.
Hi, my name is Fred Amata, and you are on to Souk News.
If you are watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it, because this is Souk News.
Shout out to Souk News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souk News. Here's the Souk News, who had the courage to transcend a locked-off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souk News. Thank you very much.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souk News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souk News.
So I'm happy that Souk TV has come into existence. I'm happy to be here in the Souk News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souk News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souk News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souk News.
Keep watching Souk News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown.
Hi, my name is Fred Amata, and you are on to Souk News.
If you are watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it, because this is Souk News.
Shout out to Souk News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souk News. Here's the Souk News, who had the courage to transcend a locked-off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souk News. Thank you very much.
Welcome back. You're still watching Business Insight, and we're discussing innovative business trends for improved productivity in 2024. And we know that trends basically are, the general direction in which an event or phenomenon develops and changes over time. So that's what a trend is. And now trends in business, simply talks about the new developments in a market or industry space that affects the business environment. And they are typically new ways, by which businesses achieve their goals, or improve their performance among their competitors, and when we refer to business trends, we are talking about, issues like e-commerce practices, okay, and AI and automation, talking about digital solutions. We also have big data, analytics, sustainability, remote work, flexible work engagements, and these are the new innovations that have come up over time, that are being practiced in the business space. And we are just looking at how to further improve on these trends to ensure that there is more productivity. So that's basically what we're discussing today. And I'm hoping our guest has joined us. Good morning to you, Mr. Shaya. Okay, good to see you. Compliments of the season.
I hope you can hear me clearly.
Okay, we can't really hear you in the studio.
Can you hear me
Okay,
clearly, please?
but if you
Confirm
can
that
hear me, I would like for you to just, give us
Okay,
an insight
I can hear you. Can you hear
into.
me?
Okay, I would like for you to just give us an overview of the business
Good
trends
morning,
available in
Adesua. I
Nigeria
can hear
today.
you clearly. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you. Just go ahead. Hope you can hear me as well. Did you
Yes,
get the
I can
question?
hear you clearly.
Okay, I was asking that you give us an overview of what business trends are like currently in Nigeria as we have it today.
I could barely hear that.
There is some issue with the audio. I would let's just go on a break and return.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm
Hello?
Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Sook News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Sook News.
So I'm happy that Sook TV has come into existence. I'm happy to be here in the Sook News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Sook News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Sook News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Zook News.
Keep watching Sook News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
All right, we really apologize for that break in transmission, but we hope our guest is on standby now. Good morning to you, Mr. Shaya.
Good morning, Adesua. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you very well. Thank you very much. Compliments of the season to
awesome.
you.
Compliments of the season to you too.
In light of this topic, I was asking you before we had that network issue about innovations, business trends in Nigeria as we have it today. What is your understanding of it? Well, just give us a brief overview of what business trends are like in Nigeria currently.
Okay, business overview in Nigeria currently, right? Talking about trends, what is happening. So if has to give a brief overview, I would say that businesses in Nigeria at this time are trying to survive a lot of things. We're trying to survive inflation. We're trying to survive the economic hardship, which is quite evident and everybody knows about it. But I think another thing that is a trend right now is the technological advancement. So technology is actually taking over a lot of things in the business world. And when I talk about technology, I'm talking about different facets and aspects of it. I'm talking about what AI is doing presently. I'm talking about blockchain. I'm talking about a couple of other things that helps to automate the way businesses are being handled in the country. So we'll also talk about the policy environment for businesses in Nigeria. So the present government seems to be outdoing itself with regards to ensuring that especially the micro, small, and medium enterprises sector are able to survive. We know that that sector contributes about 50% to our GDP. So we've seen a lot of incentives and intervention from the government to enable small businesses to thrive. So we've seen some conditional grant, we've seen some loan being packaged. We're also seeing a lot of intervention to ensure that there is a lot more ease in doing business in the country. So that's the trend. That's what I see.
Very well. And now, Shaya, we see that, of course, artificial intelligence is no longer new. It has become the norm. How would you, say artificial intelligence has impacted businesses so far?
So artificial intelligence is not even the future of businesses anymore. It is the now and the future. There was a time where we're saying when AI takes over, this is going to happen. But we are actually seeing AI doing a lot of things right before our very eye. And so what artificial intelligence is doing is basically changing the landscape of business and changing the way that we do things from the way it used to be before. So we see AI taking the front burner in so many aspects of business. For instance, in content generation right now, it as if we can actually outsource our thinking to AI to generate content, to identify our target audience, and to create targeted content to reach them. In the area of customer support, we also see AI in the area of chatbots, automated emails. And of course, when you talk about UI, UX, user experience and user interface, AI is taking the front burner. Now, I'm sure we've seen the trend now. People have started, people create images for their marketing campaign for all sorts of things. All you just need to do is to type what you want to see in the AI tool, and it generates the appropriate image for you. Life can't be better than that. So AI is actually taking the place of a lot of things in customer support, marketing, design and creativity, and of course in data analysis, especially in predictive analytics. Now AI helps us to analyze data to the finest of details, and we can now take informed decision based on that. So, it's one thing for you to have data. It's another thing for you to be able to analyze it and use predictive analytics. AI is actually helping us in that area, which means that data doesn't just sit down with you, but you can use that data to predict what is going to happen to your business, what's going to happen to your sector, what is going to happen in your market. AI also helps to generate innovation and a lot of ideas. You can actually type in what you're thinking. You can type in things into your AI tools, and ideas are generated for you. And when I talk of AI, it's not just ChatGPT. There are a lot of AI tools that we don't even know about or that we're not maximizing. And it's going to get a lot better from here. But I need to also sound a note of caution. AI is good, AI is fine, but there are some things we also need to be careful about when it comes to AI and the business landscape. If we are not careful, we're going to have a lot of people in the workforce who will outsource their thinking to AI, and they will practically just not think anymore, if I can use that word. So AI needs to be used by humans who want to use it to leverage their effort and not outsource everything totally to it. So that's what I see with regards to AI and business.
Okay, thank you very much. I was actually going to touch on that, about how humans can remain relevant despite the adoption of artificial intelligence. Now, let's look at big data and analysis, just like you earlier mentioned, because that is one of the innovations, one of the business trends as we have it today. Now, how can businesses, leverage data insights, to give them a competitive advantage and also respect customers' privacy? So despite getting data from customers, you can still, draw a balance in which you still respect their privacy and all of that. How can that be done in businesses today?
Okay, so let me talk about how we can leverage data with regards to what artificial intelligence is doing. Then I talk about the data privacy and the protection of individual part of it also. So data-driven decision making has been made possible a lot more because of artificial intelligence. So organizations, businesses can take a lot more qualitative and quantitative decisions because artificial intelligence, like I said earlier, helps you to analyze data. So you can have predictive analytics that can show you trends with regards to what is going to happen in business, with regards to what the workplace is going to look like, right? So you can take informed decision. You can use data analytics, for instance, based on what AI is doing for you to predict what should be the next skill that you want to train your employees on. You can also use data analytics to you can actually monetize a lot of things, and you can identify your different revenue streams based on what data analytics is telling you and see where the money is in your business. You can actually, you can explore a lot of things. Now, talking about the other part of it, which you brought up, how do we protect people's data? I think the policy environment needs to be tightened up, especially around here. So in some climes, there are some things you don't do. For instance, now I've seen people send mails to me, and inside that mails, I see email addresses of maybe hundreds of other people. So instead of somebody blind copying or using an email marketing tool, they just copy everybody's email address and send mails to you. And so they are exposing my emails to hundreds of other people. They are exposing other people's emails to me because we don't have strict policies around here, or we don't enforce such policies. But in other climes, you talk about GDPR, we talk about a lot of other policies that ensures that you are made to comply. And if you fail to comply, there are punitive measures that would ensure that you comply with data protection policies. There are some email service providers that would ban you from using their services if they find out that you are sending emails to people that are not solicited or people that did not voluntarily opt in into your system. So what are we saying? We need to ensure that the policy environment with regards to data protection is firmed up, and that when we also have the regulations, we enforce them so that people's data are not exposed indiscriminately, because there is a lot of danger that people can be exposed to in these days of data. There's data everywhere. You can analyze, you can process, you can take decisions. But while we are doing that, how protected are the people? Now, because of cookies now, if you log into whatever platform, they can already predict what you are looking for. So they are serving you ads that suits your need because they have actually checked where you have visited in the last probably days or hours. And so it's not a miracle when you are thinking, or when you're trying to search for shoes, for instance, and you check one or two websites, and you find out that in the next 1 hour, every advert you see is about shoe, which is fine in one way. But on the other side, people are scared. So I don't even know what is going to happen to me. I don't know what part of me that I don't want people to know that data is being already captured for. So basically, the policies around data protection should be localized, should be broadened, and should be enforced to the letter. And there should be punitive measures when there is no compliance. So when I'm saying this, I'm not just talking about the developed clients. At every level, even organization level, you should ensure that the data of your fellow employees are protected. If you are providing a service that allows you to access people's data, for instance, if you work in the health sector, let's say you work with an HMO, and you have access to data of the enrollees in your company, the fact that you have access to it does not mean you can use that data indiscriminately. You don't talk about people's private issues because you have access to them. And then there should also be control with regards to who has access. What level of control do we have? Does everybody in the organization have access to the same level of data, or do we want to streamline and restrict the level of exposure to data from one level to another? So when we put all those measures in place, we'll find out that we can make use of data, we can benefit from it, we can predict trends, we can analyze, and people are still protected. So that's what I think we should do.
Well, Shaya, thank you very much for that one. Now, let's look at power sustainability. We know that electricity is a challenge in Nigeria. That goes without saying. But now, how can businesses, go green, so to speak, in that, in the adoption of solar panels and all of that to ensure that there is constant power? Is that a way to go? How do we ensure that more businesses in Nigeria can go green, basically?
Okay, so going green, I think is something that we can approach from different dimensions. So we need to talk about it. We need to come up with policies. We also need to use moral suasion. Some people will not naturally go green or adopt green technology or whatever green we're talking about. But I know in some climes they are saying by 2030 you will not see a petrol powered car anymore, and they are working towards it. Right? We have a couple of cars in Nigeria that are powered by solar, and but I think we need to drive this from from top down, right? We need to start from the level of the government, demonstrating by examples that they are ready to go green and showcasing it to other people, right? If, for instance, the government orders for vehicles for the executive and the legislative arm, and they demonstrate that they are putting into consideration sustainability in that decision making, and so when they come up with policies that ensure that everybody complies, it won't be lip service because they have actually demonstrated it. But looking away from that, let's talk about the individual organizations and businesses and even individual persons, how we can ensure that we go green is by asking ourselves, what is the implication of the practices that we have been used to? How much damage do we think is being done to the environment, to the ozone layer, to the different elements? I mean, by virtue of the fact that I drive my car from Ikeja to VI every day, do I know what the emission from my car is doing to the environment? So we need to start with reorientation, letting people know how harmful these habits are. When you use a petrol-powered car, when you use the regular electricity as compared to solar, when you embrace some practices that hinder and that affect the environment negatively. This is the implication. And going by what you're doing, if you keep doing this, for instance, we might not have an environment that we are proud of in the next 20 years. Let's look at what we are also doing to water supply and everything. I think by the time people get to understand the implication of these things, they would be better persuaded to want to go green. But apart from that, I think the government should also incentivize it. It should be cheap, or let me say cheaper for me to go green. Government should ensure that whatever they can do, if they have to do public infrastructure that allows people to access whatever makes them to go green, and it's easily available and it's cheap for them to embrace, maybe they would do. If you look at the number of people that have embraced solar technology now compared to 5 years ago, you know that there is a lot of difference. And I also believe that if we can actually keep pushing and solar becomes more affordable, a lot of people will embrace it. So let there be orientation, let there be some form of subsidy, let there be incentives, and let also persuade people. everything is just not about forcing and forcing, but let's do a lot of moral suasion to encourage people, especially the late adopters and the laggards. Let them understand that it's for the benefit of everyone, it's for the benefit of the environment, it's for the benefit of the future generation. If you embrace green technology, if you all go green, we have a safer environment, we can breathe in better air, and we can also live healthier.
Very well, well said. Thank you so very much. Now let's look at another aspect to it, talking about remote working. You know, that has become a thing, you know, after the whole COVID-19 pandemic that happened in 2020. Lots of companies are, you know, working remotely or doing this hybrid arrangement in that they work remotely sometimes and they work physically sometimes. So now, is this the way to go? And how can businesses, you know, expand themselves and adopt this mode of working to ensure that, you know, to just improve productivity, that despite, you know, having workers working remotely, they can still be as efficient and productive? How can that happen?
So, talking about working remotely, I mean, there are different models to it. You have remote work, work from home, distributed work, hybrid, and what have you. But I think it's a major blessing. So when I tell people that COVID-19 was a blessing in disguise in some aspect, but of course I say it with a lot of carefulness because we all know how much damage COVID-19 did. But I think that one of the things that has happened is the fact that we actually understand now that a lot of things that we thought were not possible before actually are very possible. I mean, now we could do training virtual, we could do a lot of things. I mean, I'm doing this interview virtually. I'm sure some 3-4 years ago, I would have to, I mean, the only option was to drive down to your studio to make this happen. So remote work is the future of work. And I know for some organizations, they are still trying to grapple with a lot of things. And it's understandable that some people hide behind remote work to be ineffective. So I think what organizations need to do is to create measures to allow them ensure that they get the best out of employees, even when they are working remotely. And I see a lot of organizations rising to the occasion with regards to creating solutions that can ensure that I see a lot of startups creating tools and apps that ensure that you can actually measure and manage your employees' performance when they are working remotely. But I think remote work has
Welcome back. We really apologize for that breaking transmission. And we'll just go ahead with our conversation with our guest, Mr. Shaya. Are you still with us, please, Mr. Shaya? Okay, we apologize for that break. Okay, so still in line with your thoughts, we would like to hear your final thoughts on remote work. You know, we're talking about that before we went on that break. So we just want to hear the final aspects of your thoughts.
Okay, so I'll just quickly talk about how it is shaping the future of business operations, and probably one or two things we need to put in place. Because what has happened is that we've seen a lot of people embrace remote work from home. I've also seen some other some organizations, even reputable ones, call back their members of staff to come back to the physical workspace, while some people who have not adopted remote work have even decided to embrace it now. So what it means is that organizations that know how to manage it, and also depending on the peculiarity of your business, it's actually the future because it saves a lot of money. Number one, like I said earlier, it exposes to a global talent pool and also helps you with regards to diversity. You can employ people from different locations and they just need to deliver on the job. Like, unlike if you do 100% come to the brick and mortar workspace, everybody has to reside in that city, basically, right? It also encourages operational resilience. It encourages a lot of productivity and flexibility. From personal experience, I've seen that happen. It's also a tool that has encouraged a lot of automation and digital transformation because you are not in the same workspace. It has put a lot of organization on their toes in regards to digitally transforming their businesses and processes to ensure that people can actually do whatever they are doing from whatever place. And of course, I think one of the major benefits that we need to talk about is the work-life integration that it has enabled. So we have people who can now do their job and still do great things on the home front because they don't have to wake up in the morning and commute 3 hours to their place of work and another 3 hours coming back. Now people have work-life integration. They can still manage their family better. And I think that's a major reason why we should all, as much as possible, give remote working a lot of consideration. But what are the things that we need to put in place? Organizations that want to embrace this need to ensure that their technological infrastructure is sound. If you don't have the technological backbone, it will suffer and everything will fall flat on its face. You should have technology that enables you to manage the people, to measure their performance even when they are working remotely, technology that enables you to communicate with them seamlessly, to collaborate. So you must have collaboration tools. If there is no collaboration tools and we are doing remote work, there would be a lot of problems. So whatever tool you want to use, there are a lot of them. We must embrace them. And of course, there must be a shift in our mindset, especially as employers and management. A lot of people still believe that when people are not in the physical workspace, that they are not productive, and they just believe that they need to see your face every day. So we need to change that mindset and tell ourselves that people can be productive even when they are working from Oklahoma, they are working from Kinshasa, they are working from Zanzibar or wherever. So that needs to change. And that would also help us to put in the right tools, the right technology, and the right mindset to embrace it. It will save the environment a lot too. People won't have to drive and the emission from their car will not damage the environment, will not put pressure on the infrastructure, especially road. We would also, like I said earlier, have work-life balance. So I think remote work is the future. I think remote work enables a lot of flexibility. But one thing that remote work also has brought upon us is the fact that we now have a gig economy. So people don't want to be tied to one organization anymore. So you see people doing 2 or 3 jobs. So whether I think that is negative or positive depends on which side of the divide you are and the context. In some places it's fine, but it also means that some employees are not as loyal to their employers as they should be because they have like 2 or 3 other gigs that they are doing. So when you have a tool that is focused on performance As long as you are delivering on your KPIs, it's fine. So that mindset there has to be that shift in the mindset to say it's all about performance, it's all about getting people to do what they need to do and providing the tools that makes it available, that makes it possible for them to do all of those things while they are not in the brick and mortar office. I think that would just be my final words.
Right, thank you very much. So remote work is the way to go now. Okay, now let's look at e-commerce. E-commerce has become the norm. Every business now has some level of online presence. Now, how would you, say businesses can actually further leverage on e-commerce to ensure that they are more productive even in this new year, 2024?
So what I think organizations need to do when it comes to e-commerce is to look at what is available and leverage them. So I see a lot of people trying to reinvent the wheel. I don't need to create my own payment gateway, sincerely. There are a lot of startups that have payment gateways that can help me collect payment. If I say I want to do e-commerce all by myself, I create my own payment gateways, I deploy my own technology to manage everything, that would be a lot of cost to me. But there are some people that have created it. So what I just need to do is to plug in into what is available. If I want to do invoicing, there are organizations, there are startups that can help me handle my invoicing, handle my bookkeeping, handle my payment, handle confirmation, handle a lot of things. So what I will advise business owners, particularly small business owners, is to plug into what is available. And I also know that there is a lot of lack of information with regards to a lot of these things. A lot of people don't know that they can actually have tools that would enable them manage everything end to end when it comes to their business operations. So we need to get information. We need to seek out for those tools. And usually those tools are they are not so expensive because the companies that roll them out, they are looking for large numbers. It's just about the law of large numbers. And so each person pays a small amount of money. But by the time they pull everything together, it's a lot of revenue for them. So leverage what is available. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't try to want to do everything all by yourself. It will be a lot of cost, and it will also, if you're not careful, shift your attention from the major operation, the major thing that your business is meant to do. And you just be focused on technology, automation, transformation, and what have you. It's always very exciting, but you just find out at the end of the year that you have spent a lot of time doing something that you could actually have outsourced, leverage what other people have done, and you will just be better for it. So that's what I will advise businesses to do.
Thank you very much. Now let's look at collaborative entrepreneurship. We see this in other climes, companies coming together, to actually be better and more efficient. But we don't see a lot of that here in Nigeria because everybody probably just wants to be the boss of their own company. But do you think this is the future? This is one of the ways in which businesses can actually be more productive?
Yeah, it is the future, no doubt. I don't have a doubt that it's something that we would embrace. Some people would do it willingly. Some people will be forced to embrace it. Why did I say that? I think the major reason why we're not collaborating is this mindset that I want to have everything all by myself. I want to be the MD, CEO, chairman of my own company. And I want to ascribe every success of the business to me, myself, and I. But with the advent of startups, with the advent of with the uptake, the embrace of startups in Africa and in Nigeria particularly, I think we are ready to change the way we do things. Unlike before, where everybody wants to own 100% of their business, with the advent of startup has ensured that people are now willing to give out equity in their business because that's the way startups are configured. There are businesses who develop solutions, solve problems, they embrace technology, they are able to scale up rapidly, and they are also willing to invite investors who would take stakes in the company. And that's some form of collaboration and partnership. I'm saying that I have the solution, but you have the financial wherewithal, bring it. And of course, while setting that up, you see a lot of these guys, they have co-founders, which is also a form of collaboration. I know that I'm good in ideating, you are good with technology, so I'm the CEO, you are the CTO, we have the CMO who is very good with marketing. And so everybody brings in their expertise, and then we also call investors, and everybody is collaborating to ensure the success of that startup. So that is happening in the startup space. I think it's going to translate into something bigger, something larger, where businesses are saying that this is my strength, but I need this organization to be my technical partner. I need this organization to be my knowledge partner. I need this one to be my media partner. I need this one to just provide the framework and the technology that we need. So that would happen. And for the ones that are not quick to adopt it, they would be forced to adopt it because they will find out that embracing collaboration would result in a lot of cost saving, will also result in a lot of competitive edge for them if they embrace it. So I see that happening, and it's just going to be win-win for everybody, every party that is collaborating. So it's going to happen. It's going to become something bigger, right? And it is the future. But while we are collaborating, we also need to define the terms. Maybe that's where people get their fingers burnt. So when you are collaborating, what are the things that we are collaborating on? What are the terms? What's the need for me? What's the need for you? Let's have it defined. Let's sign agreements so that nobody comes back tomorrow and changes what we have agreed on. So when we put all of that in place, collaboration becomes a lot sweeter and it becomes a lot more beneficial to all the parties.
Very well, thank you very much. Now, what would you advise governments to do by way of policy, to basically ensure the protection of data? Yes, basically that's it.
So I will advise government to ensure that even at their own, so we have government organizations, we have parastatals who also have access to data. And then we're asking, for instance, we're asking ourselves, every time you want to do something now, you have BVN. I'm talking of Nigerian context now. So almost everybody that is doing banking in Nigeria, you have your BVN, and almost everybody now has national identity number, the NIN. If you are still going to do your travel passport, they will ask for these things. If you want to do some transactions, you feel like they have access to my data. Why are they still asking me? Why am I saying this? When there is proliferation of data, when data is being accepted and collected from multiple sources, there is a higher tendency that data will not be well protected, because it means that a lot more people have access to that data instead of a central database that anyone that requires it is authorized. That's what, authorized to access it. So government should lead by example with the way data is managed. There are some things that when you want to do with government, they should not be asking for some details, because your data is assumed to already be captured with your NIN and your BVN and some other tools. So government should lead by example by ensuring that data is collected, mined, protected, managed, and accessed properly. And then we should also create policies that ensures that private organizations, individuals do not use other people's data indiscriminately. We should create layers of authorization for who can access certain data and who cannot access them. That I work in a particular organization does not mean that I should have access to all level of data. There should be classification. There should also be measures to ensure that when there is breach, it is arrested and whoever is responsible is brought to book. So we should not handle data carelessly. I think another thing we need to do is to digitize collection of data. It's a lot easier for me to go into an establishment and pick people's files and access their data. But if that data is digitized, I will need some layers of accesses, right? I will need a password. I will need to be authorized to access that thing. So if government can ensure that data is digitized,
They can ensure that data that they have is well managed, that there is authorization at some levels to what data people can access. I think that would ensure that data is well protected, and policies that would ensure that those things are protected are not just they are not just churned out, but the policies should be enforced. I think that's the word. We have a lot of policies that are not enforced. They should be enforced. If that is taken care of, I think we'll be fine.
Into collaborative entrepreneurship, what can government do to ensure that the business environment in Nigeria is conducive for collaborations? And I would just like for you to add that to your final thoughts before we round up the show.
So how can government ensure that we have a collaborative business environment? By providing tools that encourage collaboration. So I know, for instance, at the time, the immediate past government they were creating some, I think they were calling them MSME clusters, I can't remember the name, where you have large number of businesses, they can access some certain amenities in some locations. That would, of course, encourage collaboration. People can come together, and there is a lot of economy of scale because they're coming together in a particular space or in a particular domain. So government should create infrastructures and things that can actually bring organizations together and ensure that there's a collaborative environment for them. So you talk about shared workspace now, which is being driven by the private sector, which of course has enabled a lot of people to benefit from having a workplace. That's some form of collaborative effort, right? So government should create infrastructures, digital, physical, and what have you, that enable people to collaborate. They should also ensure that there is ease of doing business. So I think we moved in the ease of doing business some years ago. I think we are, I'm not very sure now, but I think we were 137 at some point. But what makes us feel like we can actually move further down the ladder and create further ease of doing businesses? We should avoid policy somersault, right? When we have a policy today and then next year we have changed it, that becomes injurious to the entrepreneurs. We should also ensure, I saw what NAFDAC is doing recently. I saw that information some 1 or 2 days ago, saying that NAFDAC is slashing the cost of small businesses registering with them. And so I want to see things like that from regulators, from NAFDAC, from SON, from SEC, and every other organization in charge of regulating businesses. Let them make the environment easier and more conducive for these businesses, and you just will be amazed at how much these businesses can do. I'm very particular about MSMEs because that's my constituencies. MSMEs in Nigeria are about 39.6 million at the moment. They are contributing about 50% to our GDP, and they are responsible for about 80% of the employment in the country. If you enable these guys, I can tell you that their contribution to the GDP will jump amazingly. They will employ a lot more people, and so it will reduce unemployment in the country, and the economy will be a lot better for it. So government should do what it can do, and of course the business owners also should embrace a lot of capacity building measure that enables them to do businesses a lot better. They should be accustomed with the trend, and they should embrace the trend and not become dinosaurs by trying to do things the way they were done in 1946. So that would be my parting shot.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Shaye Oluwarotimi. Thank you for your time on Business Insight. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me at this show. I do enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. And with that, we call it a wrap on Business Insight today. Many thanks for joining us. Join us again tomorrow. See you then. I'm Adesua Irimoseli.